What is up, game changers? Today I need to talk about the 1212 portal. It's very important. There's something you truly need to know, as this one is not normal. It is unprecedented. It is unlike anything we've ever felt, experienced, or seen before. And I'm going to get into what that means and what you can do to help yourself during this portal. My name is Juniper Bloom Mystique. I am an ascension master, master healer, and divine guide. I have worked very diligently through my own awakening. And in my own awakening, I realized and recognized and proven to you all that I have been bringing about the return of Christ. For I am, in fact, what the Bible depicts as the bride of Christ. My journey began in 2019 through a Kundalini awakening, and like I said, you guys, it's very real. This is not me being kookaloo. I'm not making this up. It is very, very relevant. All of it has been proven and witnessed and recorded, as well as uploaded through workshops, through healings over the last 4 years, and provided on this channel for you guys to see. Not to mention, I was able to bring about, like the Bible depicts and God promised, the path home. So this portal, as I had mentioned above, is off the charts. If you've been watching this channel at all, which I encourage you to do, I have already completed the return of Christ. Last Christmas Day, Jesus came through. Okay, I've had a few things that I did with that. Let me talk about that a little bit, because according to Spirit, it's very relevant as well for this portal. And there's something you need to know. Okay. During my journey, it started with raising Atlantis. Then I began clearing Mount Shasta, which is the false. And I activated a pyramid in Fiji and returned the triangle with the eye, the all-seeing eye, the all-know, back to the God portal, which is also at Fiji. Okay. Then shortly after that, the first encounter with the Jesus aspect. And eventually I learned that all of these were my past lives. Okay. Adam and Eve, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Sekhmet and Horus are actually the same soul. They've lied to you about everything. Okay. They were different lifetimes. That is God. Those were God on this earth. And all of them were twin flames, and all of them were ripped apart. And what I have spent the last 4 years doing is undoing all darkness, closing off all 12 gates of darkness, opening up 13 to heaven, removed all darkness. You guys, I cannot reiterate that enough. I divided only darkness and light, and I returned all twin souls, which was Adam and Eve, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Sekhmet and Horus. Okay. The first encounter, though, however, with Jesus was on August 6th or 7th of 2020 or 2021. It's on my channel. Because I've done so much, I don't remember exact dates all the time. I saw him. I was doing a Patreon workshop. This is how things would come through, is where I didn't know they were coming. I was doing a healing for my patrons, and I went to the mountains in Colorado by a river. And the next thing I knew, I saw Jesus. I saw his life, and like literally saw him in his time frame from when he was alive. Okay. Then all of a sudden, like, I mean, literally could see him. It's close to what people predict or depict him as. It really was, except for he was very like wind burned, you know, like with sand and sun and wind, and he was very skinny, and you could tell he was hungry and he was dirty. And the next thing I knew, like, he was being given bread and wine by John the Apostle, and he was very hungry. He hesitated. And I know this because I was processing this. And in my healing, I started becoming him. Like, I was processing his death. I was processing what happened to him. And so it unfolded this way, and it was very fast. And I was in shock. I'm like, am I really seeing this? Is this really happening? And he hesitated to take the bread and the wine. It was a piece of bread and some wine. And the wine was in that cup, right? That cup that they talk about. And he hesitated. Jesus did not feel right to take it, but he was so hungry, and he was trusting. He wanted to trust John the Apostle. He was an apostle. He was supposed to be his right-hand person. He was supposed to be somebody he could trust. Revelations speak of this, and this is what I brought about, which was all of Revelations. Now, in this workshop, all of a sudden, he drank the wine and he ate the bread, and then within seconds, It was so much pain that I felt. My stomach started burning. Everything started burning. It was so much pain. I couldn't breathe. I was crying. And it took him about 20 minutes to die. He was poisoned with cyanide, strychnine. I can't ever remember which one I said. It's in the video. It's recorded and it's uploaded on this channel. Like literally was poisoned, and it hurt so bad. And then he started bleeding out of every orifice. I'm not kidding. His pores, his mouth, his eyes, his nose, and he died right there. It took him a good 20 or 30 minutes to slowly die, burning from the inside out. That's what cyanide, or I think it was cyanide, strychnine, I can't remember. That's what that stuff does. Okay. And it was very painful, and that's how he died. And I didn't see anything else after that for that one. That's how that one unfolded. His soul went, instead of going up though, went sideways into the Garden of Eden. And now I know why. Because at the time I was not able to fully unite with my own twin flame. He was with people he shouldn't have been with. He wasn't healed yet. We weren't fully united. We had ran into each other, but we had not combined yet. So at that time, Jesus's soul went sideways into the Garden of Eden and became a flower. That was not necessarily the original plan. Maybe it was. From there, I started activating pyramids all over the globe, from Machu Picchu, Myanmar, Budapest, Thailand, Brazil, Congo, Mount Kilimanjaro, Nigeria, Kenya, all over. Okay, I have activated pyramids, meaning I took my light and I filled these pyramids. I would move them, rotate them. I shifted the poles. Prometheus came in and split the earth in half. And I've done a lot of things. This is relevant because if you don't understand this stuff, you're not going to fully be able to receive these. You won't be able to understand what's coming, let alone what this portal is specifically about. This is God's portal. That's what they're telling me. This is Jesus's portal. Okay. And I'm just saying that now because I asked Spirit to tell you what this portal is about. Okay. And I'm hearing this is Jesus's portal. And I'm not going to, like, seriously, it is. Recently, my DM finally took on his soul. That's a long story. My original DM did die. In this process, we were attacked by fallen angels for a whole entire year. I almost died 3 times in this journey from, you guys, it was not a joke, okay? My body became enlarged, like it was horrible. It was a horrible experience. It's a horrible experience to lose a twin flame. I had to take on his energy, his light for a little while until my new DM was acclimated, and that's been a year, okay? So then brings us to 1 year ago on Christmas Day, December 25th of 2022. My new DM, I had a walk-in by that time. My original DM died on August of that year. And then I got a walk-in. Okay, that I actually uploaded that for people to see and understand because that's not normal at all. It's not normal at all. Okay, you can actually see what that means. I felt his heart stop. They ripped his soul out. The twin flame part got put into a new DM. And then the part that was David, the part that was my old twin flame, went somewhere else. So the person that he was is no longer. He died. And then I got a walk-in and the song changed in my energy. Everything shifted. We completed the dome of protection because we are the leaders of the 144,000. This is not a joke. Okay. When I tell you I brought about the return of Christ, I can prove it over and over and over and over and over again. It was my own awakening. Okay. My own awakening was clearing all my lifetimes. And again, it started with Adam and Eve, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Sekhmet and Horus. And this is a God portal, okay? Not a joke. This is a God portal. I can't repeat that enough, you guys. This 12/12 portal is going to continue through Christmas, and it is a God portal. It is a change in time. I ended all time. I undid all that too. Now, Christmas Day last year was the completion of the Jesus portal aspect, or the Jesus aspect, in that lifetime. And then I went on to Sekhmet and Horus time and dried the Nile, called my power back from that lifetime. With the Horus aspect, I undid all darkness in the moon, shifted it, moved poles, did all that kind of stuff. And all of this, majority of it is on this channel to prove to you because Spirit told me to do that. Now I see why. But the rest of it is actually in the path to righteousness for only those who choose to go home to God through that path, through the one that he sent to bring it all about. Those are the ones who are going to get to experience every little detail of what I did. because it's very real. It's very powerful, and it has to be through free will. Okay. So if I give it away, everybody's going to be like, yes, give me that. And they're not going to do it. I've already seen this happen. So I don't do that. Okay. If you want it, get it. If you want to rise to God through the path to righteousness, I have that for you. However, Christmas Day last year, I was working at the Crisis Center. And because I had a psychology degree, right? My whole awakening changed my world. It all of a sudden became spiritual. I was in psychology, working through crisis or behavioral, those kinds of things. So it was a big shift. Okay. So Christmas of last year, I was working at the Crisis Center, and I knew I was prepping to meet my new twin flame, but I didn't know he was already supposed to be there by that day, because he was. But it's not, he was probably scared. Lord knows what he experienced. So I don't blame him. So it was quite painful. But Spirit said, hey, call off work, do a video on your YouTube channel. So I did. That's all I knew that was coming. Then slowly I started getting information about what was happening. I knew that, see, in my mind, I already thought we freed Jesus. I thought that was all done, but it wasn't. Turns out, once he was murdered by John the Apostle, they made Mary Magdalene take his blood in that cup. So I saw her gathering his blood, right? Literally, and she was crying and bawling. Turns out that was one of my lifetimes, because later she combined with me. But she was crying and bawling. She took all that blood. She was forced to. And then John the Apostle took that blood, and they wrote a contract in his blood, trapping all of humanity, trapping Israel, trapping everything. And I undid it. Okay. I started undoing that contract. I honestly haven't watched that video in a minute. I would recommend that you do that, because it's relevant for this portal. That's what they're telling me. This is God's portal. This is absolutely, unequivocally God's portal. Now, the really cool part about this is here on the 13th, I will be doing brain activations of the cerebral cortex. I have to up level it. I have to take it into a 7D blueprint, 12D actually, but I took us into 7D, and a majority of people only mapped out for 5D. And so what you can expect or accept depends on your soul purpose. Okay. But truthfully, it's 12D. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Am I going too fast, you guys? Because this is very important to understand who I am and what I've done. If you refuse to continue to listen to me, if you refuse to do your research into what I say, that's on you. You're going to miss something very important. Because it's not every day that God is like, look, this is what I promised you. Here it is. And here's the proof. And I have all of that. I can look back on my journey now. At first, I didn't know why I was doing the things I was doing. Spirit would say, hey, record your workshops. I was like, well, okay. And it happened because I didn't feel comfortable, right? So I wanted to start recording my workshops. So I did. Everything that I did was very intricate, piece by piece, and guided by Spirit. And I had no idea what was happening until the end. It started to really process through what I was doing and who I was. And at this time, when I undid the unholy grail, that's what I call it. That was the Holy Grail. It wasn't a cup. See, they call it the Last Supper because John the Apostle poisoned him with bread and wine. Then they told you the Holy Grail was a cup. Sorry about that noise. Because they had Mary Magdalene gather his blood in a cup. Okay. Then they wrote a contract in his blood, which I've been undoing all of these darkness contracts from all the way back to Abraham Lincoln and this one. And then in Mount Shasta Part 2, I burned Archangel Samael. This is not a joke, you guys. That's who I am. And you can watch it. I've uploaded it here for you guys to see. But what you don't understand about this portal is this is God's portal. This is a huge karmic portal, and I'm getting chills. Once we pass this time frame of December, you are in a karmic timeline. Okay, that's why the path to righteousness actually takes all that out to the surface for you so that you can see clearly, you can choose wisely. It's the path home to God. Without that, we are shifting into a major karmic hit. Okay, and that's what this portal is about. You better be ready, because if you're not, it's going to hit you. Okay. It's all going to hit you. But the fact is when my DM didn't align like he was supposed to, people weren't able to see clearly. People started judging me and stopped watching a lot of the videos and come on here and make sour comments. And it's like, wait a minute, sunshine, I'm not normal. Okay. And I can prove this to you time and time again. I do live healings. I do Q&As live. I don't care, right? I channel everything I do. I record them. I upload them. It's proven. It's proven. It's proven. And I've walked 5 people through the gates now because they've done the path. Okay. So it's very real. Unfortunately, only one of those likes to speak her truth a lot. I wish everybody would. I wish everybody would get over jealousy, or not jealousy, judgment, right? Because it's not of God, but it's something that truly does take us down. Okay. So we have to be very mindful of what we're doing. We have to be very mindful right now of what we're thinking, what we're creating, what we're doing, what we're speaking. Our heart space is about to be ripped open wide, whether you're ready or not. And what this means is God, all of our past lives have been combined into one through the work that I've done. Okay, the portal of time, which was a Sphinx, I activated that, which started calling everybody home. All of your lives are written in the Akashic records, okay? So God's well aware of your karma, okay? Well aware. You can't bypass it. You can't hide from it. You can heal it through the path to righteousness. But this will be from this day forward, from tomorrow forward, from this month forward, the karmic play out. This is God's portal. This is God's timeline. This is God's time now. Okay. And Jesus is not the only player in that. It's Adam and Eve, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Sekhmet and Horus. And all of that plays out on this channel and through my awakening and what I was undoing. When I tell you I am the one, there is only one. Actually, there's me in my DM. Okay. And I've had people come on here and tell me, oh, no, it was the collective soul, blah, blah, blah. No, it wasn't. The collective soul took part in taking God down. All of you were born into the karmic shadow. And a lot of you have your own karma and shadow. You have to remove, you have to heal, you have to clear. It's not normal to move the poles. I shifted them and I added 5 more. It's not normal to activate all these pyramids, rebuild the crystalline grid, undo all darkness, all contracts back to the beginning of time. That is what I've done. Those were my lifetimes. And it was very, very painful. It was very painful. But I'm also so blessed. And I'm trying very hard to come from a place of not a bitchiness, right? Very love and kindness, because as difficult as this journey is and as much shade as people throw at me, it gets hard. I want to close down a lot, and I want to stop, and I want to quit. And I tell God all the time, what is the purpose when people don't listen? And they just tell me, open your heart and be love. And so I'm working on that every day. I still want to be that, even though I was hurt by everybody. My DM and 99% of people that have experienced this. And so I still do my best to set that aside. I grow every day. Now, recently, I started feeling the head, like my head and my feet were hurting really bad over this last week. And I couldn't figure out why. I was like, oh God, please don't let it be another blood clot, because on this journey activating pyramids, I had gotten a big blood clot in my leg, and accidentally it was set free, not by myself, but doing this work. And it went to my head, and I almost died then. It was bad. Like they had to stop my workshops, and I was getting healings left and right. Ended up in the hospital even at one point because my mom got scared. And they could tell in my blood work and everything, like it was intense. Okay. So it's very real. So this started happening again recently. My head was hurting, and I was like, oh no. Couldn't sleep for 3 nights. And then all of a sudden I got all this information today. I was like, oh. So in a couple days, I will be doing a brain activation. Our cerebral cortex is upgrading, at least some of us. Only those who've made it through the new earth portal, the heaven's gates, had their heart review and got their keys and cleansed, will receive every bit of what this one is. The rest of you, it's like a karmic purge. It's a karmic hit. Some DNA activations will be expressed and experienced through this, but you truly do have to be healed to a certain degree. And I talk about that. Revelations 21:12 talks about that, and that's what I brought about. Except for there's 13 gates, not 12. And you can watch the Nile and see that. And they tell you in there who I am. That is when I took the dark crystal out of the core and I smashed it, and it shattered across the collective soul. And I replaced it and rebuilt the one with light that they thought they destroyed. All of the crystalline grid was repaired at that point. And then ever since, I've processed the Earth's death and rebirth, and I keep shining light through the pyramids. And what's really cool is if you actually do watch the work that I do when I put it on here, you'll see all the other people talk about what I did after. I'll do something, and then like De La Roca and all these other people will actually be able to see it, and they will mention it after I do it. And I've shown that to you guys too. So it depends on what you're paying attention to, right? But that's why the Bible calls this Judgment Day, is those who don't want God in their heart, those that want to judge, those that want to mock God, those that want to still continue to hurt and suffer. Your timeline is shifting. Okay. So this 12-12 portal is quite intense. It's 12D energies. It is God's portal. This is God's portal. So depending upon where you're at, there was one workshop I did recently where I took all of my patrons through God's eye, right? So you're going to start to see who you are through God's eyes, more and more, good and bad. And there's no bad through God's eyes. Let me correct that. They want me to correct that because God doesn't see bad, right? But you're going to see where you're not aligned with God, where you're not aligned with love, more and more and more and more. And it can hurt. Okay. That's why those that did the work with me, they're not going to experience things like the rest of you are. That's not a joke. That's not my ego. When I was activating the pyramids, I kept saying that. Those that were doing the work with me, that did the whole entire path home, that didn't go into judgment or anything like that during, those ones are being separated from the collective soul. That's why, you know, God said, hey, I promise the return. I promise the path home. Those individuals are removed from all of the carnage and suffering and byproduct of El Diablo or the shadow or the darkness. Okay, they're separated from it. They have a different experience than all of you are going to have. I have a different experience than all of you are going to have. What we're supposed to be apostles are going to have a different experience. Okay, there's some that fell off the journey halfway through or in the beginning. Actually, a lot did when my DM chose the fallen angel again and attacked me, and he died. A lot of those people also went with in that energy, right? Unfortunately, it's very sad. It's very sad. There was nothing else I could do. I did everything I was supposed to do, and I survived it somehow, and they didn't expect that I was going to. I remember Spirit telling me that. They're like, whoa, we knew you could make it, but we didn't know that you were. They were actually planned for us to not make it through the ascension, you guys. So those that fell off, they're going to also have different experiences than they were originally expected to. And so when that happens, it's like a hole in the soul, right? This is a battle for your soul. But this portal in particular is a God's portal. It is very, very high potency. This is a cerebral cortex activation as well. On the 13th, I'm doing that workshop. It is part of the portal. This portal will continue through January 1st. Okay, so like 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, into the first week of January is the energies of this portal. It's a karmic lesson for those that have karma to play out, and these are big ones. We are inching by June of next year. We will be near the Nile portal, and it will be too late. So what I'm telling you guys is it's very real. You are in the final timelines. This is the final. This is it. We are working our way home. Either you are or you're not, right? And what you guys need to also realize is some people here don't have souls. Some beings here don't have souls at all. And Biden's one of them. Okay. He is what they would call a lizard person. I saw that many years ago. That's one of the first things they showed me, as well as the Bible being a lot fake and everything else. So the world that you've been exposed to, the things that you understand are not real. They were lies and lies and lies. What happened is Adam and Eve were messed with. They talk about that, right? But they make it Eve. And it wasn't that at all. It was actually a false goddess came in that Adam chose, and I died. I saw myself die. I had to clear that when I rose Atlantis. I actually wrote a contract that said Atlantis would never rise again because I was quite upset. And I undid that, freed my soul, and rose Atlantis. That was one of the first things I did. But Adam had chosen a false goddess. Okay. And it killed me. And he tried to do the same thing in this lifetime. Drugs and a false goddess. They used drugs to keep his vibration low. That is what happened. It all played out on this channel. You can watch it. Okay. So Adam and Eve went, and that's when the flood came. They shifted the poles. They wrote a contract, all of that. Mount Shasta, Samael. And this is what I've undone. It's pretty cool, but only 34 people watched Mount Shasta Part 2. And I'm telling you right now is either you're not awake enough or you're mocking God. And either way, I prayed for you. Okay. because this stuff is very real. When I undid that contract, it was painful because my DM was supposed to do that one. Okay. And I had to do it on my own. And so what you guys don't realize, though, is that my twin flame has been doing work. I have his key. I don't know where he's at. He should be right. He's rising. I can feel it. He's doing a lot of things on the other side. He sends me great music. He tries to help me through music a lot. He actually took on the soul from the Garden of Eden recently. That all played out on my channel as well. So you guys don't realize is that he has risen and he's healed. They're only waiting for one more thing from him. Okay. And the event, it happens when he and I come together. And if we don't, I'm sure they'll bypass and I can do it on my own like everything else. So trust assured that it will happen. But it's meant for both. Okay, and that's massive white light. It's like this white light. When I processed the earth's death and I took her into the gates herself, I cleansed her, I purged her. She doesn't have her own karma, but anybody who messes with her does. And then the Garden of Eden, heaven expanded across the earth, and everything that doesn't align with that light burns. That's why they depict it as hell burning, because it doesn't align with God's frequency. And this is God's portal. Okay, are you hearing me clearly? This 12/12 portal, after what I did last year, this year is his portal. Okay, it's God is not just Jesus. That is not the only aspect of Christ. That's what you guys have to understand. And it's not just Jesus. Okay, God is a masculine and feminine. Adam and Eve, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Sekhmet and Horus. So there should be no separation. I am also my twin flame. My twin flame is me. I am the one, and so is he. Even if my original died and my new one didn't get to help in a lot of ways, it's still him and I. I would never take that away from him. And I'm employing you guys to do the same. Because if you look at Jesus as just a masculine, you're missing half of life. The Ankh is the true cross. Jesus did not die on a cross. The reason they would hang him from the cross and depict it like that is because they broke your God. They separated your masculine and feminine. They broke your cross and they would mock the shit out of you. And they would get you to do communion, take the bread and the wine, and you didn't realize that you were selling your soul every time. Okay. So if you're still diligently going to church and you're choosing that over what I say, what do you think you're doing? Because I've undone all of it. We undid Catholicism. We undid everything. I cleared Salem. I cleared Mount Manitou, which is where I had my awakening. There was darkness there. I cut off life support to California. I deactivated Mount Shasta. You guys, these are relevant because the reason I will continue to repeat this is because it's very real. And you don't understand the brevity of where we're going, where we came from, and what to do with it, right? So this portal, okay, no matter where you're at on your journey, if you could take the path home, take it, and take it now, because we're running out of time for that. Because even eventually you won't even have time for that. Okay. Do it. Like, I'm serious. Take it. Don't deny it. Take it. That is the path that God promised. That is all the work that I did. That takes you through everything, all DNA activations, all portals, 13. It cleanses you. I do a heart review in the end. You have to clear out all your like, it's insane. Okay. Number one, do that if you can. If you don't want to, if you think you can't, whatever, that's your creation, right? That's free will based. You don't have to. For those that don't, for those that haven't made it through the new earth, this portal, it's layered, okay? How do I put this? Because it's ethereal, it's 12-dimensional, okay? It's beyond the reality of what our mind can capacitate. Our mind does not fully understand, which is also why in this portal, I'm doing a cerebral cortex upgrade. We are completely expanding our brain. Our brain has to expand, which means our skulls will expand, which is why way back in Atlantis, you find all of these beings with big heads, right? They're big, misshapen, and they're like, oh, we're all aliens. Yeah, we all are. First of all, why would you think you're not an alien version of a different being? To them, you're an alien, right? We are not the only ones here. Okay, we began smaller. Our lives became shorter because they shifted the poles. They were taking you away from God. All right. So no joke, the earth is expanding. There's something big coming because of that. Okay. The earth is actually in the portal. This portal is very real. It's 12th dimensional, okay? And we can only expand to 5 and 7D physically in this lifetime, because that's all we were really blueprinted for. So if you think for a second this won't hit on people's mentality, you're wrong. So the weakest link of our collective soul might have mental issues right now, more than they've ever had. Okay. And as we rise into these higher frequency energies, people that have darkness in them, it's rising through them as well. That's what you guys also don't understand, because they're very well aware that their time is up. And so they will, mass shootings, things like that are going to become more intense as we go along. Civil unrest, they're also saying there will be some civil unrest. People, unfortunately, will kill each other. We can't avoid that, right? It's just because it's in them to do it to begin with. Okay. And so it's rising, it's rising. People become afraid, and they like to use that against you because you've been seeing through the lens of fear, right? And so God's not fear. There's no fear where God resides. God is love. God is, and so that's these two worlds. You see what I'm saying? God is home. I brought it all back. I already brought back all Christ light, all activations, which is why I tell you, if you're healing people and you haven't upgraded, you haven't made it through God's portal, you're not healing in God's light all the way. Okay. If at all. So be careful who you get messages and healings from. It's not a joke. Very few of us have actually made it into the new earth, because it is a path of it's a testament to your soul. It's not a given. Okay, you have to prove your way into it, basically. That's Revelations 21:12. Because do we want, like Hitler can manifest, right? Everybody can create, that's here. Do we want them all to be there? No, we don't. Okay, so there is this splitting right now. This God portal is like two worlds being ripped apart. And you're going to see that more and more and more and more. It's going to become more intense. And even Spirit tells me that I still don't see the entire brevity, because it's beyond our mind capabilities. Okay. So that's why also I'm doing cerebral cortex activations on the 13th. That way we can expand the capacity of our understanding to meet that of our soul. Okay. Your higher self right now is working overtime to help people see and hear the nudges. And if you think money should stop you, you guys, money already was in the portal as well. Money was quite dirty and quite controlled. That's your shadow. Okay. You're a creator, call it in. All right. So it's like all of these things will try to stop you. They always will. You will be convinced that you're not worthy, or you can't afford it, or all these things, right? I got to go to church rather than listen to the one who brought it about. Yeah, I've seen this unfolding left and right and center. And it's really sad. And that is the power of the DM. The DM is the one who can change that completely. But you guys, this is God's portal. Okay. It's not a joke. Moonstone is a really good stone to have to help you through these energies. Being mindful of your mind space, mental health would be of something to pay very close attention to right now. It is a power pull on the mind through this portal, because this is a God's portal. This is a power pull on the mind. Okay, so if you're not in control of your own mind, be very mindful of that, right? I'm sure on the crisis line, if I still worked there, it would be overtime right now. You have no idea the kinds of calls that I would get of people going, do you know this is, and they would just say the weirdest thing. People are aware. Okay, people are more aware than you know. And I'm sure you are too. So why you would bring judgment to me is beyond me. Don't think for a second that you know how it should have played out, because it did play out the way that I'm saying it did. Okay. So don't let your ego stop you. Don't let your shadow stop you, but it's going to push hard through this portal. It's going to push hard through this portal, because it's a battle for your soul. All right. These frequencies are off the charts. Okay. And in order to expand in them, you have to be pure in the heart and pure in the soul. But I would say 99% of the population has not gotten there yet. So it wreaks havoc. Okay. These Christ energies, this is a big wave of Christ light that's about to come in through this portal. Okay. And as it does, the earth will expand more. Our minds are meant to be expanding right now, but there's a big gap in the collective soul, unfortunately, due to what happened. And so it can play tricks on your head. Okay. The best thing to do is meditate, 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 get into your heart, take your power back, and do not let anything convince you otherwise. Do not let negativity run the show. Do not, because that's not God. God is not fear. God is power. You are magical creators. You are fragments of God trying to make your way home, which is why God said, hey, I promise you the path home. And I have that path. It's everything that I did. That is the only guaranteed path home. Those that did the work with me are separate from the collective soul. They are, because they did the work already. They went through with me. Very few made it. We were supposed to have 10. Okay. When my DM had his mishap, a lot of them did too, unfortunately. It breaks my heart because we all need that support, right? People should be able to see, oh my God, people really did this. So what I'm going to tell you right now is this is a battle for your soul. You're going to feel with these energies, you're going to feel if there's any shadow, start ripping at your soul. Okay. Because Christ's light and the shadow do not compute. It can be physically painful. It can be mentally taxing. And we are only as strong as our weakest link, my friends. All right. So I would definitely say, love your family, stay close to home, watch what's going on around the world. Okay. Just be aware of your surroundings. Can you travel? If you want to, I would never tell you not to do anything. But I will tell you right now, the earth is shifting. Personally, I ain't going near no waterways or anywhere there's a fault line because I know what I did. And something about like a hole in the earth. So sinkholes are also might become more relevant going forward. And then like these tornadoes and things, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The earth is speaking loudly to you guys. Do you know that? So I did the Nile in June, right? Where I turned it blood red. And the next day, I think it was in Japan, they had a river turn blood red from a beer plant spill. Then this weekend, one in Russia also turned blood red, and they can't explain why that one did. So if you guys think for a second the earth is not telling you and giving you warning signs, she is. Can you hear them? Are you paying attention to these warning signs? She's speaking very, very loudly. The earth is cracking and shifting. And some people are over here going, do. Oh, it's fine. You know, this is nothing. This is normal. They're trying to blame this stuff on some earthquake from many, many, many years ago. I'm like, y'all are out your damn minds. It's quantum physics related. You can't shift poles and not. Oh, and they're also saying pay attention to the magnetosphere. So the magnet poles are shifting because of the sun. There's like this huge chunk of the sun that's all been, and if you watch the videos that I did, I would take chunks of the sun and shove them into the earth. I would take chunks of the sun and shove them into the pyramids. It's very real. What I do is very real, and then it expands across the globe. Okay. So everything I've done over these last 4 years is boomeranging back around, and it's happening quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. And if you're on the other side where I'm in the new earth, very few of us are, okay, but not all of you are. You're still co-creators, meaning you're not fully in charge of your existence, even though you are. Like, how do I explain that? You have guides and your higher self really trying to get you to clear that karma and trying to understand what's going on and to choose the right path. But once you get into the new earth, it's all about you, your creation. You get a blank slate as long as you've cleared all your karma, and you must be in your power and you get to create whatever you want. Okay. So there's 2 worlds right now playing out. One is dying. One is being reborn. This portal is quite intense. It's going to kick the ass of some of us, okay? Because these energies are beyond our mental capacity. So I could sit here all day and try to really diligently tell you these things, but unless you get out of your head, start opening your heart and do the healings with me, you're not going to see them all the way. Okay. I've seen that time and time again. Those who start doing the path, then they're like, oh my gosh, now I can see more clearly. Oh my gosh, now I can see more clearly. So the more healed you are, the more clearly you can see. All right. the more of a De La Roca, right? Like our everyday lives, a good example is he's a star being. He's a different entity. Okay. And so some of us are designed to see more clearly. Okay. We've already aligned. We're already evolved. But even he had to do his own work. Okay. So you guys don't, nobody's guaranteed anything. I'll tell you that right now. I know because I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was doing was going to cause people to die. Because return of Christ has occurred. This is the God portal. And only those who are pure and aligned with God can stay. So each day, each movement, each energetic shift, each paradigm shift is going to cause that more and more. You either anchor into the shadow more or you release and return to God. And only those who've done the path that I created are separated from you all. Okay. So it's quite intense. Like this is quite intense. You're going to feel this. You're going to get body aches in your head. I feel like it's in the head more, this portal, because it's beyond what our brain can understand. Not to mention, I am doing a paradigm shift on Facebook Live tomorrow, where I'm going to have you align with the timeline your higher self wants you on. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to do that live on Facebook tomorrow if you want to join us. And then the day after, I have to do a workshop to upgrade the cerebral cortex. We are ascending the cerebral cortex in the God portal. So I'm hoping that gets you guys to understand a little bit more what this one is about, because that's why it's really hard to explain it, because it's 12th dimensional realm. Frequencies, the energies are always moving and they're quite high in vibration. And once your vibration matches those energies, you can see clearly, you can expand in them. It's like particleizing into the universal flow. Isn't that insane? Right? Like that's crazy, but it's real. Okay. I can literally go into meditation and stand in the center of time. That's what I would do when I would activate pyramids and stuff a lot, is I would stand in the center of time. When I would undo things, sometimes I would have to rip souls out of bodies. Like it's not a joke, it's gross. It was weird. And so the brevity of these portals is very, very, very intense. It's beyond what you know because they've lied to you. So all of that deep programming is rising to the surface. Now, when that happens, some people are going to think they're going crazy. Medications will hurt you. Okay. If you're on medications, I warned about this like 3 years ago, is that medications will hurt you more than anything because they block our receptors. People, they've convinced you that if you talk to angels and see things, some of them will tell you you're crazy, right? Not to say that there's not mental health issues. I worked in the psychological field, all right, behavioral crisis. I understand a lot of that. But what I'm telling you right now is this is going to be intense for everybody on this planet. Some are going to be more verbal and vocal about it than others will, because some deal with it differently than others, right? So as far as the good is rising, also is the darkness. Okay. So we are going to have our loved ones struggling and suffering more, and they may not express that. So please be kind. Talk to people, open up to them, and allow them to open up to you. The truth is what sets us free. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. Religion is another aspect that I would say, watch out. If you are anchored into religion in any way, you have to purge that. Okay. How do you have to heal it. If you are anchored into any of the shadow, you have to heal it. Mount Shasta, if you've done healings there, be very careful, because I undid all of that. The expansion of this portal will hit your mind, your bone structure, your cellular structure more than any other. It's going to be physically painful in some ways. It can be mentally taxing in others. If you can control your mind and get your power back out of that, if you have power over your mind, you are in your heart more and you can expand more into these energies. If not, it's very difficult. Okay. And where there is the shadow, will block it. Do you understand? It doesn't align. And as we rise more into these Christ energies, the shadow starts to burn. That's not a joke. When I would do a lot of these pyramid activations, I would say, oop, fire started. And literally they would in real time. Okay. So I need you guys to understand that this is beyond a lot of our mental capacity. This is a portal of the mind. This is God's portal. Moonstone, eggplant is a food that would actually help you right now. Eggplant, which if you think of the color of the eggplant, makes sense. So your crown, your third eye is something to pay attention to. Your heart chakra is something to pay attention to. Moonstone can help you. Obsidian onyx can also help you. Hematite can help you. Howlite can help you in this one. And then I'm getting the word serendipity. Look that up. Serendipity. Okay. Also, the Mandela effect is heightened. So there's going to be more shifts in your reality that you didn't see coming. Okay. So manifest, but again, you manifest what you are. So if you can gain control of your mind and your vibration is that of love and gratitude, manifest like crazy. If not, then I would add healing into that manifesting as well. Right? Bypass, get your power back. However, karma is something you cannot bypass. You have to undo it by doing the opposite of which created it. And I talk about that in the path home. Okay. It's not just something you can go, oh, well, I'm love now. It will play out. It will repeat in your environment from every lifetime you've had. And it's going to get more intense. And you either choose differently from what you chose the first time. And that requires soul growth. That's the ascension. That's the way home. Okay. So be ready. All right. And on Christmas, I'm going to do some free giveaways. I will talk about those. I will be doing on Facebook and YouTube. I will be doing lives. Christmas Eve, I will do one here on my normal time at 11:11. And I will be giving away 2 free healing sessions, but you have to be at the live. Facebook on the night before Christmas Eve on the 23rd, I think at 1:11, I will be doing 2 free healings as well. These will be guided by spirit, whoever spirit says they need them. You just have to show up. Okay, but I will only do 2 for each one. This is my gift to you guys for Christmas. So this week ahead is intense, my friends. Be mindful of your physical health, your well-being. Your mental health is of utmost importance through this portal. This is a mind expansion. This is an expansion of the ethereal realm. This is a God portal. That's hard to understand. All right, think of an item that's solid and then watch it particleize and expand into the ethereal. That is what we are doing at this time. Either if you can, if you cannot, it's starting to kick you out more and more and more. Those who cannot align, leave each portal. So pay attention. Okay. Each portal, people leave that can't align. Have you noticed this? All right. So much love to you guys. Pay attention to this portal. This is God's portal. This is God's time. See you guys later. Have a beautiful week. Hasta la vista, baby.